Whoa. Hey, we're starting a new unit on geometric constructions. What's geometry? Geometry is the study of shapes, lines, points, things like that. Sometimes it's on a coordinate grid, sometimes we just deal with the actual shape or the actual line. So our unit is called geometric constructions because we're going to construct different geometric things using geometry. Inception? Anyways, before we get started on that, we need to clear up a few terms. Now, the way that we use words in real life is not always the same as we use them when we're using them in math. Take, for example, a line. Most people would consider this a line. In math, this has a different name. It's called a line segment because it's only a piece of a line. In math, a line actually goes on forever. It never ends. Anytime you have a piece of a line, it technically is called a line segment and not a line. This is important because I'm going to talk about parallel lines. A common definition for parallel that I hear from kids is that two lines never touch each other. While this is true, parallel lines never touch each other, we need to make sure we're not talking about line segments. Because it's easy to draw two line segments that aren't parallel. But if we drew the full lines, we could easily see that those lines will cross each other. So when we talk about parallel lines, we have to imagine that the line segments that we see have been extended forever and that they will never cross each other. They'll never intersect each other. So to sum up, two lines are parallel if they will never cross each other. They are always exactly the same distance apart. So we can tell if two lines are parallel if we can see that they never get closer or farther apart from each other. To start off, we're going to learn about a few different ways that we can draw two lines that are parallel to each other. We'll be given a line segment and we have to draw a line that's parallel to it. First way of making a parallel line is kind of cheating. Notice how the two sides of this ruler are parallel to each other. They're the exact same distance from on this side as they are on this side. It's really easy. All I've got to do is line up this side of the ruler with a line and then draw a line on the other side. Let's see it. This is definitely the easiest method and it feels like cheating. I got my two parallel sides of my ruler. I carefully line up my ruler with the line and then I just trace the other side of the ruler. There we go. These two lines are parallel to each other. My second method for drawing a parallel line is going to be using a protractor. I'm going to line up the bottom of the protractor with the line on the page, and then I'm going to draw two dots. A line always has to go through at least 2 points. I can choose any degree I want if I want to keep the protractor in the same spot. Usually I'd say it's easiest to work between the 30 to 70 range, so somewhere in here. I choose any one of these numbers, so let's say 50. It can be 40 or 60 if you want to, it doesn't matter. Line this up on the line, draw a dot at 50 on this side, find 50 on the other side, and draw a line through those two dots. Another way, draw a line at 90, move the protractor, draw another dot at 90, draw a line through those dots. Let's see it. So to start off, I put my protractor down and I make sure that it's lined up with the line. For this one, it doesn't matter if I'm using the edge of my protractor, but it's just better practice to get used to using the line with the zeros. That's what you have to use to measure angles. That's what we're going to need to use later. So let's just have good form all the time and make sure that that line gets lined up. Okay, so I made sure that the two ends are both at the zeros, and then I can choose whatever number I want. Just make sure that you're using the same number on both sides. I'll use 50. So I carefully put a dot at 50 on both sides. There we go. And then I draw a line through those two dots, and I end up with a line that's parallel to my other line. Now I also said that you could use 90 degrees as well, but move the protractor. So for this one, I line up the protractor on my line, put a dot at 90 degrees, then I slide it over, making sure that it's still lined up, put another dot at 90 degrees. This will give me another parallel line. So I did the exact same thing. I chose an angle, put 2 dots using that same angle. There we go. Now all 3 of these lines are actually parallel to each other. Third way is a fun one. We finally get to use the compass, which we've all been waiting for ever since we bought a geometry set. This involves drawing 3 circles or parts of circles that are the same size. There's different ways to do it. I think the my way is the easier way, but you can choose. You can find videos on the internet and decide for yourself. When using a compass, I recommend not having the arms too close or too far apart. It gets pretty hard to draw the circle. Also, having a stack of papers can be easier because it gives the point of the compass something to grip into. If you just have one sheet on your desk, the point of the compass doesn't have a lot to hold on to, and so it can make it harder. Choose a distance that's a kind of medium and comfortable distance for you to make the circles. One thing you might have to do is if your compass has a screw up here, you might need to take a screwdriver and tighten that up. You want them to be flexible, but you don't want them to move easily because you want them to stay where they are when you're trying to draw the circle. Let's try it out and see how it works. Using a compass takes some practice, but once you get the hang of it, this is a really effective way for doing geometric constructions. For a parallel line, it doesn't matter how far apart the arms of my compass is, so choose something that you're comfortable with, something that you find it easy to draw circles with on your compass. I can start the compass wherever I want to, and I don't actually have to measure my endpoint. So I'm going to start right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark on this side, and I'm going to draw more of my circle. Now, I can draw as much of the circle as I want to, but it's really just these parts that I need. I need the place where the circles are going to intersect. What I'm doing is I'm finding 2 spots, and I'm making these little X's. I'm finding 2 spots that the compass will intersect with each other, or the circles will intersect with each other. And again, I mark the line so that I make sure that my compass is always the exact same distance apart. If I had marked out my starting center, you would see that all of these marks would be exactly the same distance from each other. And that's the key to this method. And so you can see that I could figure it out because my pencil will line up a circle. If I don't change the arms of my compass, it's using the fact that the distance between every point on the circle and the edge of the circle, they're all the exact same distance. Every single spot on the edge of a circle is the exact same distance from the center. So I make a mark where the circles cross each other, and there you have it. Now, I'm drawing a point through those spots where it intersects. Okay, I look for where they intersect. I draw a line through it. There we go. Parallel lines. Let me show you this again. So you can draw just the parts where they intersect, or you can draw as much of the circle as you want to. This time I'll mark the starting spot. A lot of people find it easier just to draw more of the circle, because it doesn't matter if you draw lots of extra parts of the circle. And then this part, I really don't need much of the circle. I just need that part. But I could draw the full circle if I want to. All that's important is I get these 2 spots where the circles intersect each other. And I draw the line through those points. Bam, parallel lines. The last method is one I just learned about a few days ago. It uses a ruler and a compass. I had to include it because it's really cool. Let's see it. I think this one is really cool, and you can control how far apart your parallel lines are from each other. To start off, you line up the triangle on the line. Next, place your ruler against that triangle. Now I can do parallel lines anywhere I want to. I slide my triangle wherever I want, and I just decide where I want my parallel line to be. I can draw it way over here if I want to, or I can draw it really close. This would be really useful if you had to draw a parallel line through a specific point on your page. But for my example, I'll do my parallel line right here. And if you need a longer line, you could use the long edge of the triangle. One thing that you have to be careful of when you're doing these constructions is you sometimes have to press firmly down so that things don't slide around. For example, if I'm not pressing down on my ruler and it shifts, the line is no longer parallel. Okay, so to start off, I firmly push down on my triangle. Then I can line my ruler up with it. I'm going to be gentle, but I want it so that the triangle doesn't move. And then similarly, I want to be able to slide this triangle around, so I got to push hard on the ruler to make sure that it doesn't move. That's it. Now you know 4 different ways of constructing a line parallel to another line. I hope this video was helpful. See you next time.